This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Hello, football fans, and welcome to the Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by the Mark Weber.
Dub them ease.
And if you're listening to us on blogtalkradio.com, thank you for coming back for another week of another awesome podcast, if I do say so myself. If you are on SoundCloud, don't forget, we are going to be capiche no more on the SoundClouds as of October 1st. We're going to be just on blogtalkradio.com/the Onside Kick if you want to get all your Onside Kick needs. And on YouTube, hey guys, how's it going? You guys can see us for a second consecutive week, and you may be asking yourself, "But Ricky, why are we seeing it for 2 weeks?"
It was so good the first time, had to come back.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the best podcast of MVP, if I do say so myself. But it was supposed to be the fast break this week, and the fast break will still be a video podcast. However, Mark, this is it. This is the show we look forward to.
This is week 3.
All off season.
Week 3 of the preseason. That's the big one. That's when we start to care a little bit more. Then we take a week off for week 4.
I'm not paying attention to the the only thing I pay attention to the preseason are injuries. That's about it. But it's the big one because this is the hold us to them. Make your predictions, set them in stone. When they're wrong, let us know they're wrong. When they're right, we're going to let you know they're right. Hold us to them. NFL predictions. And here's how this whole show is going to work. The first part of the show, we're going to go through each of the divisions. Mark's going to give his division. I'm going to give mine. We'll have some cool graphics for the YouTube watchers out there. And then the second part we'll go into after we kind of construct our playoff fields. We'll walk you through each of them, kind of road to the Super Bowl. And then we will end the podcast with our Super Bowl predictions. And Mark, you know what that means? Somebody tonight
is going to win the Super Bowl.
Is getting the kiss of death. Two teams. Two teams.
Yeah.
If you're new to the podcast, last year I picked Cowboys and Colts. Both of them just got murdered with injuries. So we're going to pick 2 more teams to get the kiss of death tonight. But we're going to start going through division by division. And let's start with the AFC. We'll start in the AFC North. Mark, what are you looking for in the North?
That's a good place to start. You know what I look for? I've said it a few times. I think the Steelers are one of the best teams in the NFL this year. And some people are going to kind of be surprised by that. They're going to say, but that defense is not what it used to be. And that's correct. It's not what it used to be.
No Martavius Bryant for the entire year. Le'Veon's only out the first 3.
Le'Veon doesn't play defense, though. But
I'm just saying as an overall kind of a team, that kind of speaks to me more than the defense.
Well, I would say that the defense is what people criticize the Steelers for. Nobody's talking about the offense not being good enough. They've got one of the best quarterbacks. They have one of the best running backs for most of the games. They have Antonio Brown as well out there, one of, if not the best wide receiver. I mean, is this the greatest show on turf? I don't know. I'm not saying it is. I'm just putting the question out there. But, you know, this team has pretty much everything they need to be successful on offense. The question is that defense. But you know what? This is a young defense. They're hungry, and they got a lot of fast guys out there that can make plays. So I think that this Steelers team, they don't have anything wrong with them. You know, people are talking about the complete team Seahawks, the complete team Panthers, the Cardinals, but I think this right here is a very complete team.
Run me through your 1 through 4 in the AFC. Who you got?
We got the Steelers, number 1. They're a 12-4 team. It's going to do really well this year. Then we got the Bengals. They are second, and they are a 9-7 team. Not very high on the Bengals right now. I will hold off on the whole who's getting in, who's not getting in. Obviously the Steelers, but we'll hold off on the rest. The Browns, I had them as a 5-11 team. And here's the thing with the Browns. I think early on, the Browns are going to surprise some people, make them think that they're a real team. You know, they can rattle off wins against the Eagles, the Ravens, the Dolphins, but, you know, eventually RG3 is going to get hurt, right? And RG3 and his 3-headed monster out there, Pryor, Coleman, and Gordon, it's not going to hold up forever. And then, of course, I had the Ravens at the very bottom. They're a 4-12 team. Browns were 5-11, if I didn't say it.
That was the most, when I was looking through your kind of divisional standings, because I was putting together the graphics for the podcast, that's the one thing that spoke out to me. I'm like, holy shit, he's got the Ravens behind the Browns?
Yeah.
The Browns?
The stank, man. The stank is still on the team. The stank of Mark Trestman has not left yet. It will leave because this is his second year there, so it will go away. But it's just not yet. You know, I think that, like I said, RG3, when he's healthy and when he's got Coleman, when he has Terrell Pryor, who's not going to be like a huge name, but he's going to make some Sports Center type of plays. And then, of course, you have Josh Gordon coming back, which apparently all of the NFL is appreciating and wanting this guy on their teams now, which is dumb because it's too late. He's back. Why would the Browns trade him now that he's back? But anyways, they've got a lot of pieces there to win some games with their new Wolverine head coach. So I think that helps out a lot. It gets them more wins than the Ravens, which I just don't think there's really much to excite me about the Ravens.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll go through mine now. I'm in agreement with you. Got to have the Steelers at the top. However, you had them, what, 12-4?
12-4.
I am on a different page. I only have them at 10-6, winning the division. The Bengals are the big team to me because it all comes down to what are we going to expect from the Bengals? And I know that in my Bengals prediction, a lot of Bengals fans were like, oh, they're assuming, and they being non-Bengals fans, are assuming that, oh, we lost 2 wide receivers, we're going to be in trouble. The thing that I look at is, no, you guys lost the Wolverine in Hugh Jackson, and I think that's going to take a hit. This Bengal team ain't going to be the same. I'm not saying like catastrophic, maybe just a 9-7 year. You miss out by one game.
The big question is how much of that is making Andy Dalton better. Because we all can, I think, agree on both not only this podcast and most valuable podcasts in general.
I like Andy Dalton. I think
he is made better by A.J. Green. He's made better by the pieces around him. He is not as amazing as it might seem.
Andy Dalton, to me, is on the cusp of like B to A- quarterback. And when I say that is, when I think of a B quarterback, I think of a guy like Matt Ryan, who he's a guy that can get you to the playoffs. But if you want to get anything more than that, you need a team around him.
Yeah.
They would have won last year if Burfict didn't do a Burfict move. That's what I'm talking with Andy Dalton. It's he'll get you to the playoffs. You need that team around him in order to do something with it. But to finish off my rankings in the AFC North, I got the Ravens at 5-11. I think they're going to be more improved than last year, however, not so good. I got the Browns at 3-13, just doing Brown things. And you guys are going to see from all of my standings, I got a few 3-13 teams. I don't think everything's going to happen exactly record-wise that I'm saying today, but I think the order of the standings is going to be true. Let's move on to the AFC South, though, and this is where me and you have kind of a disagreeing of opinions. Run me through your AFC standings.
Well, I've got the Colts here on top of the division. They're back with Andrew Luck there. I only have them as a 9-7 team.
And that's the thing. Like, really, 9-7? You think not only the Colts are only going to be A, 9-7, and B, you think that's going to be enough to win the South?
To win the South? Oh, yeah, for sure. This is enough to win the South. But, you know, I think they play some difficult teams. They play the Raiders. They play the Vikings. They play the Jets. They play Green Bay. They play Chicago. You know, they're going to play Houston a couple of times, which I don't know if Houston is that tough, but divisionally it's tough. And it's just a tough division. You know, the lowest I have is a 6-win team in this division. Nobody's a cakewalk. So it is going to be a little bit more difficult for them to get through. And I don't have them winning by much. You know, I have them beating out the Texans, which are an 8-8 team. Then the Titans and Jaguars both sitting there at 6-10. You know, unfortunately for the Jaguars, they only won a single game in their division. You know, I'm excited to see the things that Mariota can do out there with this team, the way he can kind of progress in this coming year. Not that I think Blake Bortles is bad or anything like that, but I just kind of... I think that the Jaguars are moving in the right direction, but I don't think we see it yet. This is not the year to see that.
See, I think that the Jaguars take a step. The Titans take a step. The Texans, they're going to be decent, and the Colts are going to be really good. How my standings look in the AFC South are just like you, Colts at the top. However, I got them at 11-5. The only losses I think they're going to have is I gave Jacksonville the game in Duval County. They're going to lose in Lambeau, lose in Minnesota, lose in New York, and then Houston will take one from them when they have J.J. Watt healthy at the end of the year. I thought about giving the Titans one against them. I just don't think that the Titans are going to be able to beat the Colts. But other than that, the rest of this division is just going to be three solid good teams where I got Texans at 8-8, Jaguars at 8-8, Texans at 7-9. Like that's three teams where it's like let Big Daddy go to the playoffs, and then the kids can go play out back. That's how this division's going to be.
Yeah, it's just a tough one because everyone's just kind of at the same place. I think the thing that worries me about the Colts, offensive line still is bad. Yeah, but defense still is bad.
As long as Andrew Luck can stay healthy, I feel like this team
but with the offensive
can win
line
the division
being bad,
11-5.
Is he going to be able to stay healthy?
Yeah, but I mean, I look at the other games like, of course, there's some toss-up games like the Bears, but the Bears are kind of injury-ridden now.
But they're a team that's going to pass rush.
The game that I will say could be the two games that could be losses that I gave wins are the Steeler game and the Raider game. I just think the Colts are going to be back with Andrew Luck. They're going to win the division, obviously, and everyone else. Brock DeCock's not going to be that great, but that team overall is going to be decent. Like I said, Jaguars make that push. They're at 8-8 now. It's like, whoa, maybe we can get into the playoffs next year. And then the Super Mariota Bros in Tennessee are going, we don't need Dorial Green Beckham. We're at 7-9. Let's move on, though, to the AFC East. And this is an interesting one because there are, to me, potentially three double-digit win teams in this division. And I'll go through my standings first. Number one in the AFC East, no surprise to anybody, it's Tom Brady's Patriots. Notice how I said Tom Brady's Patriots, not Jimmy Garoppolo's Patriots, because how I see this season going for the Pats is they're going to go 1-3 with Garoppolo, not because Garoppolo's bad, just because the Dolphins will be a surprise game. Cardinals and Bills will be better without Tom Brady in there. Then it's just the Tom Brady show where the only team to beat the Patriots with Tom Brady on the field will be New York in New York. 12-4 for the Patriots. Right behind them at 11-5, the New York Jets. That was an easy switch. I originally had them as a 4-win team with Geno Smith. Fitzpatrick makes that kind of pen hit the paper. Boom, right away, an 11-win team. Then I got the Bills. I got them at 10-6, but I got them missing the playoffs at 10-6, and then the Dolphins at 11-5. That's the big one, though, in my AFC East. I got the Bills 10-6, but Rex Ryan misses the playoffs, and we talked about it. We talked about it last week. If they go 10-6, do you say, "Oh, well, you went 10-6, I'm not going to fire you," or do you say, "You know what? I said I was going to fire you, and I'm going to fire you"?
Yeah, actions speak louder than words in this case, and talk is very cheap. Now, the things I kind of have a distinct disagreement here with you on. I think that I actually have Jimmy Garoppolo doing a little better than you do. I have him winning 2 games. I have him losing to the Cardinals, losing to the Dolphins. Like I said, surprise game, same as you. But I think he'll come back strong against the Texans and the Bills. I think it just is going to take a little bit of getting used to the speed of the NFL. I mean, yeah, he's playing in preseason games and things like that.
Even though this is his 3rd year, but he hasn't played a regular season game.
Yeah, Tom Brady's not letting him get out of there. No, for sure not. But I think that, yes, he did well against the Chicago Bears 2nd and 3rd stringers, but against the Chicago Bears 1st string defense, he didn't look bad, but he didn't look good. Just very average. I think it's going to take a little bit getting him in there. But the thing that's going to be tough for these Patriots, I got the Jets. They are going to win this division only by 1 game. They are a 12-4 team, just barely stealing this division away from the Patriots. But I think that they're going to be able to do enough to steal it away. It's Tom Brady can only do so much, and when he's not there for 4 games, it definitely hurts.
Well, and the thing I don't think, I look at the Patriots schedule after Tom Brady. The Steeler game will be tough. However, I'm going to give the nod to Tom Brady just because Martavius Bryant's not going to be there. I think that's going to be a bigger deal than most people think. I'm not saying it's going to derail the Steelers season, but in a game like that, I could see it coming down to, you know what? Tom Brady just wills the way, and hey, if I would have had that one weapon, I would have been able to do it. And the schedule to me for the Patriots after Tom Brady comes back is just easier. You play the Seahawks, but you get to play them at home. You're going ahead and playing the Bengals, but you're playing them at home. Your biggest hard ones are you're playing the Jets on the road, and then you're playing the Steelers on the road. And I know Denver fans are like, but Ricky, they're playing us in Mile High. Sit down with whatever quarterback you're going to play. You'll still be in a quarterback competition at Week 15. Mm-hmm. Sit down, young fella.
No, I do think that the Jets in Week 12 is a loss. I do think that Week 10, I think even though it's not an away game for the Patriots, Seattle Seahawks.
Giving it to the Pats.
I'm giving it to them.
Not going to be a blowout, but got to give it to the Pats.
And that's a tough case, too, because I had them just before the bye week. I have them losing to the Bills as well, because I think that Rex Ryan, he plays Tom Brady well, and he's always made it his mission to beat Tom Brady.
But Tom Brady's not going to be out there for that one.
Week 8? He's going to be out there for Week 8. I'm talking about...
Oh, you're talking before the bye.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking before Week 4.
No, not Week 4.
Because that's the one I got the Bills winning, is the one with Garoppolo.
I actually... It's funny we haven't switched. No, I haven't switched. I have the Patriots beating the Bills because I think Jimmy Garoppolo is good enough for 2 games.
Yeah, see, I think that Tom Brady will beat the Bills. The Bills will get them when Brady's not out there. But, yeah, to me, this is the Patriots' division to lose. Angry Tom Brady's going to will them. Only 12-4, though. And then the Jets are going to come in second. I don't think... Did you run through your top to bottom in the East? Go ahead.
I had the Jets at 12-4, like I said previously. Patriots at 11-5. They're not missing out by much. Then we got the Bills. They're a 9-7 team. So, good team, but not enough to get in... well, I spoiled that one, but not good enough to get into the playoffs. So that might
okay. I spoiled mine with the Bills too.
That might have said something about the Bengals there if you're paying attention. And then we have the Dolphins at a 6-10 team. You know, being better, but once again, it's going to take a little bit before we can really see those steps forward.
Let's move on to the AFC West. How you got this division? Run me through your AFC West.
So this one, Kansas City Chiefs on top. They're an 11-5 team.
No disagreements.
Then I have the Raiders.
Whatsoever.
But unfortunately for the Raiders, they're an 8-8 team. So not great. Not great, but not bad, but not great. 7-9 Broncos, 5-11 Chargers.
You're a lot higher on the Chargers than the Broncos. And to me, and this is, before I give mine, I just want to touch on the Broncos really quick. You really think, like, is it one of those things where you're saying, you know what, 7-9, you're a good enough team with that defense, depending on no matter who your quarterback is?
Yeah, I think that they can steal some wins because of the defense. You know, I think that playing a team like the Colts in Week 2, they've got some monsters on that defense that are going to make Andrew Luck pay. Just think about the Tom Brady game in this conference. Same thing. You know, when they play teams like the Chargers, you know, that's easy. When they play the Jaguars, that'll be a little easier. Not super easy. Don't freak out about it, but it'll be easier. Same thing with the Titans. Easier game. I think they can steal one of the Raiders games too. You know, I think they're going to be able to do enough. And it really is about that defense. I mean, Mark Sanchez, he lost his job. He lost it. It's Trevor Siemian's right now. Eventually, Paxton Lynch is going to show up, I'm sure.
Apparently, Broncos are saying that they're going to take the quarterback competition into the regular season.
No,
which I think is a fucking mistake.
Mark Sanchez already lost the job. He is no longer starter. Now Trevor Siemian, the Northwestern quarterback. I like to point out that he's from Northwestern because Northwestern quarterbacks are not very good.
No, they're not.
So he is from this is who Mark Sanchez lost to. It's kind of an embarrassment for John Elway and the Broncos to say we brought in this veteran with all this experience and he sucks and he lost to a 7th-round pick.
Here's the thing about the Broncos, and I want to point out, I'm going to take that Colts game as kind of the microcosm of this. And a lot of Bronco fans, especially on my Broncos prediction, when I had you guys going 4-12, spoiler alert, I'll run down my standings in a second. But when I had them at 4-12, a lot of Bronco fans were like, well, what are you talking about? We got a good defense. We just need the quarterback to do this or that. I don't know what voice I'm doing. Just kind of bear with me. But the point of the story was, we didn't have a quarterback last year. Yeah, but look at the end of the year. And I know that you can say, week 16, 17, Peyton Manning played like shit. But when it counted in the playoffs, I'd rather have Peyton Manning, a noodle arm Peyton Manning, than Mark Sanchez. And the reason why
Sanchez lost the job, though.
Wait. I just
He's
say
gone.
Any of them, any of those clowns, any of the three stooges that they have out there. The reason why I would take that is I firmly believe that when we get to the regular season for a quarterback, it turns into, and I use this with Dak Prescott too, it becomes more about what they have above the shoulders than whatever they can do with their body. The smart quarterbacks tend to win.
But where did Trevor Siemian go to college?
Oh, I'm not saying
Northwestern.
That,
He's one of the smartest quarterbacks there could be.
But here's the thing with any of them. I think that what's going to happen is when push comes to shove, one of these quarterbacks, let's say it's Trevor Siemian's, going to be asked in a game just to do a little bit too much. And that is the turning point.
Yeah.
Like these quarterbacks, I'd have more confidence in the noodle arm Peyton Manning, like he did, in my opinion, in the postseason, and just went out there and didn't fuck things up and let the defense win.
But Peyton Manning did throw more interceptions than anybody last year. If he had played all those games, he would have thrown more interceptions than anybody. I think the only person who got close to him, if I remember correctly, was Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles had one more than him, 18.
So give 2 more games to Peyton Manning, he probably would have beat him.
Yeah, but that's just the confidence level that I have in Peyton Manning, one of the best.
But you're saying you want a quarterback that's not going to make mistakes, and he was the quarterback who made the second most mistakes last year.
It's hard to argue, though, when he comes in and says, you know what, Brock, sit back down. I'm going to win this in the Super Bowl, and just did enough to win the Super Bowl.
But
that's what I'm looking at, the end of the
biggest
season.
Knock on Trevor Siemian is not him making mistakes. That's Mark Sanchez. People are saying Mark Sanchez lost the job because he made mistakes. That's not what people are saying, actually. We know it's a fact. The thing that we're saying about Trevor Siemian and why he's going to probably lose this job to Paxton Lynch eventually in this season, I'd say, is because he's just average. He is just 110% average. You know, you give him any games to play, he will do fine. He will win you some games. He's not going to win you all the games. It's going to be, I should say he's going to win you the games, but he will not lose them.
I can just see it now, and I don't want this to happen. I can just see it now where Trevor Siemian becomes the 2016 version of what Kirk Cousins was last year.
You know, I honestly could see the Broncos losing to the Raiders in Week 9, Week 10 losing to the Saints. They got that bye week, right 11. That might be a really good time to make a switch to Paxton Lynch. And if you look at my schedule, I have them beating the Chiefs then in Week 12, beating the Jaguars, beating the Titans. So get Paxton Lynch in there, some fresh blood. I think that could really revitalize a team. It's not enough. There's still a 7-9 team, but it's something. It's something.
And I'm gonna run.
They're not terrible.
I'm gonna run through my standings really quick for the West before we move on to the NFC. How I got the West going down is the Chiefs at the top, just like you. Got them at 11-5, 5-1 in the division. It's gonna be a cakewalk for them. They're gonna be a playoff team. Then I've got in second, 2 wins better than you had them. I got the Raiders at 10-6. I am really high on this Raider team, and I feel like this is the year, much like Blake Bortles is going to make that step in Jacksonville, and they're going to be like an 8-8 team. The Raiders have a better team around Derek Carr, and Derek Carr making that next step as well, that's going to improve them to the 10-6 team that I have them, and I think their schedule caters for it. Do I have them stealing one game, and it's the only divisional game the Chiefs lose? Yes, but I think that the black hole could suck up the Chiefs this year. Then I got the Broncos at 4-12 and the Chargers bottoming out at 13-3.
3-13.
3-13. You dyslexia.
Chargers fans would love to have 13-3.
Charger fans just like get the parade floats right now.
We don't care that he changed it. I heard 13-3.